Welcome back to part 2 of the Fury 1B review video. And before we go on, I've got a very special announcement to make. I've got 10 subscribers! Yes! Now, when Colin first reached 3 million subscribers, he celebrated with a 5,000 shot firework display. So to mark the occasion, keeping to that same sort of scale, I'm going to fire this Nerf gun at the camera. Now then, Evolution have asked me to come up with a simple upcycling project to hopefully inspire a few of you guys to get your tools out and start thinking up some projects of your own. Now I've got something in mind, but first up I had to do a bit of shopping. Find this old dining table on Gumtree in the free listings, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be turning this into a planter for the garden. And to do that I'm going to get the saw, I'm going to make a cut there, take the middle of the tabletop off, I'm going to cut the supports underneath, I'm going to bring the two sides together so it's a lot narrower, I'm going to take the tabletop and I'm going to screw it back on underneath so it makes a bottom. Now, it looks quite short for a dining table, which is true because it is quite short for a dining table. I actually had to cut the legs off to get it to fit in the car to get it here. But that's fine, I was planning on doing that anyway. So, let's crack on and do it. Okay, so if you've been doing this build at home, then your table's probably going to look a bit like mine now, which is like a big pile of firewood. Don't worry, we're going to start putting things back together now. First thing we need to think about is what was the tabletop. What we need to do with this is we need to split it, not quite in half, but we need to divide it between what's going to form the bottom of the table and what's going to be used for the end pieces of the top. And I'm going to lay it all out on the floor now. I'm going to show you how we're going to measure it up. I know that this tabletop is 28 inches wide, and out of that I need to make the base of the planter, which goes across these bearers and to the front here, and I also need to make two end pieces, one here and one there. So I need to work out how to split that down so I get the best use of the wood. And there probably is a mathematical way of calculating it, but I find a little bit of trial and error, moving these about and measuring. And by doing that, I've worked out that having these bearers 17 inches apart on the bottom means the sections I'll need to go on the top will have to be 9.5 inches apart, which gives me an 1.5 inches room to play with, which I'm happy with. So, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to knock these bits of bearer out on the ends here that were left over. I'm going to make new ones, fix them in, cut the tabletop in half, fit the bottom, fit the top bits, maybe a bit of paint in, a bit of varnish or something. Yeah, and that'll be it. Right, so I've got a bit of a top tip for you here. This cutting guide isn't long enough to use for the cut that I want to make. So what I've done, I've taken a spare piece of wood, I've screwed it onto the bottom of the tabletop, and I'm just going to run the saw along the edge of it, and that's going to be my guide to get a nice straight cut. Okay, so now these bearers are cut down to size, you can start to get an idea of how it's going to look when it's finished. What I'm going to do with these is I'm not going to use any kind of fancy jointing. All I'm going to do is I'm going to pilot drill for some screws, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to drill nice wide holes so I can get the whole head of the screw to about halfway through the post. 100mm screws, 3 a side I imagine, so they should come to about here, so it'll be a nice solid joint. The These ones along the side need strengthening back up because they're just a little bit flimsy at the moment, so I'll sink a few more screws in there. And once that's all nice and solid, we can think about fitting the old tabletop, which is now the base. there we have it, one garden planter made from a knackered old dining table. I hope you've enjoyed watching this build as much as I've enjoyed building it, and I hope it's inspired some of you to go out and start building some projects of your own. You are of course welcome to leave links to any of your work in the comments below. Just make sure that you like this video and subscribe to my channel as well. So last thing, I just want to say thanks again to my 10 subscribers, and I'll see you in the next video.